Let's start the session, Matthew.
Welcome to one and all. We are very happy and pleased to welcome the global audience of the Global Foundation for Accessibility. Here we come and to join the hands towards the path of success and celebration. Yes, here we have the most ideal chance to meet our inspiration. Our goal are united, and we are always as together with GFA. Right, let us welcome Miss Gayle, Sheneille Gayle from Geneva, who is here to share her extraordinary story to the wide and global audience around the world. Welcome, Miss Gayle, and welcome the lovely audience of the Global Foundation for Accessibility.
Hello, good morning. You hearing me?
Yes, Miss Gayle.
Right. So good morning, everyone. As Matthew said, my name is Sheneille Gayle, Head of Accessibility Training here at GFA. And today I'm here to share my story with you, to empower you and to motivate you, right? So as you may have heard in the advertisement, right? YouTuber, audio editor, web developer, web accessibility tester. You must be wondering, how did I achieve all of that despite being visually impaired? Well, since you're here with us today, you're going to find out, right? So this all started back, my journey all started back in 2017. When I was at school, I was in my last year of high school, and I realized that I just wasn't seeing the board properly. I was living in a state of denial saying, no, I'm seeing it, I'm just tired. But at one point I realized I just wasn't seeing the board properly. Went to various eye doctors. Some said it was retina, damage to the retina. Some say it was damage to the nerve. Some say it was glaucoma. But eventually we find out it was a mass on the brain. And I had to do 2 surgeries to fix that. But when I found out about that, I was devastated and losing my sight. And I was a girl who I was always playing games on my computer, and I was also delving into graphic designing, right? I was doing graphic designing at that point of time. And when this started happening and I started losing sight in one eye at first, the left eye at first, and then it moved on to the right eye. Even as much as I wasn't seeing, and one of the time my right eye started to droop, I would have the computer on the desk and I would hold my eyelid, literally lift up my eyelid with one hand and operate the mouse with the next hand to even get the graphics designing done. That was how determined I was. But when it got to the point where it is now, where I can only see light out of my eyes, I was literally just devastated. How am I going to use my computer? How am I going to use my phone? How am I going to do graphics designing, right? I knew I wanted to do a job in IT. How am I going to do IT if I can't even use the devices, right? That was all I was thinking. And at one point, I was saying to myself, though, but shouldn't I be crying, Because persons in that situation, usually they would find themselves crying or in depression. But I realized that I was not crying. I was determined to find a way how I'm going to be able to do what I need to get done. That is when someone reached out to me and told me that the Society for the Blind out here was actually offering courses to teach persons how to use their computers, their devices with screen readers, and also to teach mobility and braille and stuff like that.
Yes. So, Ms. Gayle, yeah. Right, we have been finding that first part. That is exactly what I want to tell to my audience, that this is a story from tragedy to triumph. So when we go further, Ms. Gayle is going to give us a clear view. How did she unravel her path and came to that sort of success where she is the celebrity guest of GFA today. So yes, I hope, Ms. Gayle, that we are going to hear your extraordinary story of success and personal endeavor. Is it?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Right. So when I found out about that, I was so excited because I thought that, oh my God, there is hope. There's actually hope. There's a way I can use my devices. Because persons make it seem that, when you're blind, life is over. You sit at home, you learn the numbers on the TV remote, and you just switch through TV channels, or you sit and listen to radio. That's all life has for you, right? But when I went up by the society and they taught me how to use the basics of the Windows interface with my screen reader, as well as the basics of Microsoft Word and navigating the browser. And as I said, they taught me Braille and how to use my smartphone. But I was determined that I still wanted to go into IT. But before I get into that, I must note that as I said, this came down upon me when I was in my last year of high school. I had to end up repeating my last year of high school and doing over that year, getting sighted assistance to do my exams and stuff like that. And I was able to come through with all my subjects, right? So I could have just sat down and said, this is it. But I pushed through nevertheless. No, as I said, I knew I wanted to go into IT, but just learning the basics of Windows and Microsoft Word and stuff was not going to help me. I wanted to pursue a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. So I knew I needed to know stuff like Excel, Access, and PowerPoint and things like that. But they were not offering that as a course at that institution, at the Society for the Blind. So I went to YouTube because they taught me how to use my browser with the screen reader. I went to YouTube looking for tutorials. All the tutorials I found, even though they had English headings, the persons were not speaking English, right? So I was at the point, what am I going to do? And then a thought came to me. I did IT in high school. I used these applications before when I had sight, but now I don't know how to use them with the screen reader. So I decided to take what I learned about the screen reader and to go through and explore these applications and use what I have learned to learn how to use these applications with the screen reader. And I sat down for weeks figuring it out until I was able to figure out how to use these applications along with other applications with the screen reader. And I was able to enroll into university, right? And I'm not currently pursuing my bachelor's in IT, right? And at that point, I said to myself, there must be other persons out there who are in the same shoes as me, trying to find tutorials like this online and can't find them. And when I was younger, I always had a little dream of being a YouTuber. But at that point, I wanted to do it in gaming or graphics. So I decided that I was going to create a YouTube channel to make tutorials to show others how to use these various applications that I couldn't find proper tutorials in. I had a friend at the Jamaica Society for the Blind who was doing audio editing. He's actually a DJ, and he taught me how to use the audio editing application. And I sat and I learned how to use it. And he also showed me things that I could use to record. And I went and I recorded myself doing these videos, and I sat and I edited them and I put them up on YouTube. And I'm telling you, from that day onwards, it was a hit. Everyone loved the videos. Everyone was so amazed by how well I could break down the information. And everyone was just loving the videos. They teach them how to use their applications with the screen reader. A lot of persons told me about how I helped them to get jobs. They didn't know how to use Excel and Access, and when they learned how to use it, they were able to get promoted or to get jobs and to teach others. And it was such an awesome experience. Even at school, I've been able to maneuver myself in such a way that when I even go into groups with persons and I'm working with them in Zoom meetings, at the end of the day, when I reveal to them that I'm actually visually impaired, they were like, all this time we were here working with you and we didn't know. to the way how I carried out myself in Zoom meetings, sharing my screen, doing work with them. All this time, none of them knew that I was visually impaired. A lot of the time, some of them even sending me photos and stuff like that. And I can just pull up the OCR application on my phone and read the text on the photos and stuff like that. And a lot of them still don't know that I'm visually impaired, right? So there are ways that we can get stuff done. We don't have to sit at home thinking that, oh, I'm just gonna have to make mops now or cane chairs, right? Or weave baskets. That's all that it's there for visually impaired persons to do.
Precisely, that is exactly what GFA tells you. And that aligns too much with our ideas, and that comes in line with our perspective. So that Ms. Gayle is heading the Accessibility Training Department with GFA. So Ms. Gayle, you're also known as the Queen, most proudly. So how do you represent yourself as Miss the Queen on the web? And what does that symbolize? How does that exemplify that urge and fire to put yourself on the web and to deliver such content to the audience who are so eagerly waiting for you and becoming such an influencer? What is that sort of a mission signifying?
Okay, well, first of all, a lot of persons ask me where I came up with the name Be Queen. One of the reasons why I came up with that name is because I used to love watching a show called Zoe 101. And if I remember correctly, there was a girl in there who always wanted to create a lot of inventions and stuff like that. Even though some of them never really worked out. But she was an innovator, always trying to create all sorts of inventions. So that was one of the reasons why I chose this name. And I was looking for something unique. So I just put the V in front of it. So that's basically how I came up with that name. And as I said, I was determined to help persons because some people feel like money and stuff like that give you happiness in life. What I really get my happiness from, what really fuels me, is when I'm able to help persons and they come back and tell me how they were able to do this and do that through my help. Just sitting and helping persons, to see them smile, to hear them laugh, and to hear the gratefulness in their voice is what fuels me. So I determined, because the planning and editing process, I'm telling you, it's not a very quick process. I could have just recorded videos and just thrown them on YouTube just like that. But I sit and I plan my videos to make sure that I'm explaining everything properly. Not only that, I go back and I edit my videos, making sure the audio is clear cut so that everyone can understand what is happening. Because I know being blind or visually impaired, you're just relying on your sense of hearing as well. You can't have too much distractions and stuff like that in the background, distracting persons from the content. Even at one point when I just started out, I realized and persons were telling me that the music was too loud. And I went back and re-edited those videos and make the background music lower so persons can understand what is happening. So I dedicate my time to plan and prepare these videos and to share it out to as many persons as possible, because this is what we need to do. We need to come together as persons in the blind and visually impaired community. We need to stop acting like crabs in a barrel. We need to come together and build ourselves up, because the other persons in the world, sighted persons, they don't necessarily care about us, right? So if we fight against ourselves, how do we expect we're going to be divided, right? You can't stand, people can't stand if you're divided. We have to come together and help each other, teach each other, make jobs for ourselves, right? If persons don't want to hire us, why don't we develop our own skills and make jobs for ourselves, make our own businesses? They would have to come for our services. So that's basically what the channel is. I provide tutorials to teach on different applications and stuff like that. But I also provide inspirational interviews to motivate persons that feel like they're down and that they feel like they can't do it. Just because they're not tech savvy, they can't do anything, right? But it doesn't only depend on the computer. I have interviewed a blind painter, right? He paints and earns money from that. A blind race car driver and machinist, a blind model, right? It doesn't have to be tech related if you're not tech savvy. You just have to find what you're good at. And you need to develop the confidence in yourself that you can be successful despite the disability. Find ways around stuff to do what you need to get done. Like, for example, as I said, I interviewed a blind painter. I asked him, how do you paint murals of persons if you can't see the person's face? He told me that he can either feel the person's face in real life, or he lets them, they send a picture of themselves, and he has an application that he can use with vibrations to actually feel out the person's face on the phone, or he can print out a mask of their face with a 3D printer. So there is nothing out there that can stop us from doing what we want to do. You just have to have a mindset that you're going to take whatever stumbling block is in your way and use it as a stepping stone to your success, because nothing out there can stop you from doing what you want to do if you are determined to do it. So that's basically the goal of my channel: to educate, to motivate, and to empower. Matthew, you're there? Matthew?
Such a great embodiment of passion, such great perception, such great symbolism. Actually, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Right. So, as I was saying, this is such a great embodiment of passion, such a great significant perception, and such a great deal of, inspiration to all of our audience. I see and recognize the fact how much you give into this, how much you are dedicated, and what your determinations take you towards. My question is, like, how do you find it as yourself a web developer and accessibility tester and an audio editor too, working in multiple fields? How do you find it, and what is the drive of that sort of a passion?
Right. So as it relates to, well, there's one thing about me, from I was younger, I always used to love building things. Anything that has to do with building, that was me. Sometimes I would find a nail in the drawer and get the hammer and go outside and try to find some pieces of board and build something. There was a point where I even got addicted to this game called Minecraft, where it was like a real world thing. You could build houses and all kind of stuff, right? I'm a builder by heart. So when I was introduced to web development in high school, it was so exciting to me, because we learned some basic HTML and CSS in high school, and I was so excited. The other persons in my class didn't really show any interest. As a matter of fact, we were given an assignment to build a website. It wasn't graded, but it was for some participation points, and only my group did it. I even my group members wasn't very excited about it, but I just told them, send me some stuff and I will sit and I'll code this thing. And I just found delight in just sitting and being able to build things from scratch. And when you open it up in your browser, to be able to see what you have built come to life. So that is why I got into web development, because after I lost my sight, I wasn't thinking of going into web development, because I knew I wanted to go into IT, but I didn't know which aspect of IT I wanted to go into. But I was approached by a friend from Trinidad who actually connected me to someone who was teaching a small group of us, blind and visually impaired, about web development and Python programming. And I was like, this is awesome. I took up the opportunity and we were able to learn different techniques and stuff to be able to code and to develop things with our screen readers, right? And it was an amazing experience. And I learned how to use the different programs and different ways how to go around things that you'd usually need sight for, right? Like putting color on website and things like that. I learned different methods of getting that done without even requiring sighted help. The only thing I would possibly ask for sighted help for is when I'm finished building everything, I would ask someone, how does this look to you? But with the code, once you know the code, I was able to say where I wanted what to go, what size it should be, and exactly how it's supposed to be positioned, right? So it's a great way for even blind persons to be able to build things. Even with Python, I was able to learn Python and to build GUI applications with Python. And it was just so amazing. Even with web accessibility testing, I am passionate for accessibility. I have been on so many websites, including the big Microsoft and other websites that I even try to go on to register to advertise my web development services. The registration forms, the registration process, it is so inaccessible. All you hear is clickable, button. You don't know what is leading to what. You can't get anywhere. And it was so frustrating to me. And when I was approached by someone to join a web accessibility testing course, I was more than happy to take up the opportunity. And I took it up and I passed the course and I got certified. And I was determined that we're going to have to work hard to make websites accessible, because when websites are inaccessible, it's bad on our side, because we're missing out on different services, we're missing out on important information and opportunities, and it's just bad on our side, and it's a big disadvantage to us. So that is why I decided to take that up as well. As it relates to audio editing, I just have a passion for music, right? I'm a person who loves to listen to music and stuff like that. And I also love doing speaking, and like how I'm speaking to you now. And so while editing my YouTube videos, doing different effects in the background, music and so on, I kind of realized that I liked doing it. So that helped me to develop a passion for audio editing and even creating ads and so for people. So I'm able to advertise persons' brands, and to make, when persons want podcasts edited, I can clean up their podcast and make it so nice for their audience. So all of the services that I offer are to make person's life better and easier. Audio editing to clean up your stuff for you, to advertise your business. Web accessibility testing to make websites accessible to all. And web development to build attractive, functional, accessible websites, right? To advertise person's brands and a person's business. And all of them, no matter what persons may tell you, because even the audio editing application, everything I've been able to do, right? And I have different software and stuff that can help me with it. So you should not let the disability stop you from pursuing what you're passionate about.
Well, that is so outstanding. We have here a real dedicated personification of charm and illustrious success, and of dedication and of equal determination. Such a caliber resounding through the hardworking ages. And now we see it. When we look at it, she is a accessibility tester, as she shared. She's a web developer, and you can see that she is a social media influencer. How much she talks to you in such a way that you can just easily understand. Anybody from any part of the world with any age can just easily track her words, and so simple, being it's in so matters of importance. So I really wonder at your astounding path. It's so beautiful, it's so stretching, and it's so touching. So my question is, how do you wish to take it forward? As you have set up an empire for you, as you have created a castle of dreams for you, how will you take this forward by incorporating all these aspects together, the Queen?
Well, what I'm planning on doing is I just want to create one big network to get everyone to get. Sorry about the noise in my background. Right now, my plan is to just get everyone involved and create one big network, get everyone educated, right? Getting jobs and stuff. That's even one of the reasons why I took up this position here at GFA, to be able to train others to how to learn their devices and things like that. Because what my main goal is to get, because as I said before, we all need to come together to be recognized by the world as a whole. Like, say for example, I remember I was watching a movie once when I had sight, where you would have this group of ants and they would come, I don't remember if it was a movie or a cartoon, forgive me. When they came together, they were able to mold the shape of anything. So they could, thousands of ants, millions of ants could come together and pile up on top of each other and form the shape of a man or a building or something like that. So one ant by himself wouldn't make anything. But when they came together, they were able to do awesome things, even more powerful than the humans themselves in either that movie or that cartoon. So it's the same thing that we need to do, right? In the blind and visually impaired community. We need to come together and to make ourselves known. I know the broader world is trying to probably ignore us or to throw us in a corner, but we have to come together in such a way that no matter how they try, they cannot ignore us. Everywhere they turn, they're seeing us in CEO positions, right? With big companies, right? In all sorts of positions, doing all sorts of things, not just on the road, holding a cup, begging, or no, that's how they want to see us, but that's not how it's supposed to be. We are supposed to be included in society just like anyone else and given equal opportunities. You're not supposed to step into the workplace and as they see you walk in with your white cane, they say, no, we're not going to hire this person. We are supposed to be able to carry out ourselves in a way that we are even doing our jobs better than those who are even seeing. Like, I have a friend who he's able to do his office work better than even those around him who are seeing. And when they try to look on his screen to see what he's doing, to see if they can do it themselves, he has on a screen curtain, so they can't even see his screen. We need to carry out ourselves in a way that persons will see us on the road and not even say right away that this person is blind. Like I can tell you, you see that cane? I can't tell when last I walked with my cane, right? I don't walk with it a lot. Even when I'm going to places that I'm not so familiar with, I'm in a building I'm not so familiar with, I have the cane in my bag and I'm walking around using my hand to maneuver the place, right? I don't showcase myself as being blind or visually impaired. I can navigate myself in a way that persons can't even tell. So this is what I want to do. I want to teach. I want to spread this information far and wide, because right now I'm only reaching a small portion of the blind and visually impaired community. I want to be able to share this knowledge and this motivation to all blind and visually impaired persons across the world, to motivate them, to empower them, to get to a place where we don't need to have disability acts for us to be treated fairly in society, right? That is, and not only that, but to use my skills in programming, web development, audio editing, to be able to even build and improve technological aspects so that we have more access to technology and to things that can help us, that we don't need to ask, we don't have to be dependent on others. We can have a sense of independence and to do things on our own. So that's basically my goal, helping to not only waiting on accessibility, right, but helping to improve accessibility and the community on a whole.
Precise. And that is how you see, ladies and gentlemen, how being educated can enable you and being employed can empower you. This is the message given by Sheneille T. Gayle, or otherwise I can prefer calling her the Queen, because that is how she would be known by the world, by the popular world anyway. That's what the future to say. Anyway, we expect and we see that sort of fire here. We see the spirit that is coming out of Madam Gayle, which is running through as an electric shock through all of our audience who are just listening right away. So, Ms. Gayle, how do you see your your auditors, like when you were a person who could see, and especially as you said, you were a graphics designer. So as a designer, losing vision is too detrimental. So how did you overcome that? How did you overcome the various emotional barriers throughout the process?
Well, I must tell you that when I'm asked this question, a lot of persons don't like the answer to it, but I just have to be honest. As I said to you, there was one point where I sat and I wondered, how am I not crying? You know, is there something wrong with me? Shouldn't I be crying in this situation? But at that point, when everything was happening to me, I going through 2 surgeries and recovering and stuff like that, I'm telling you that it's only God who brought me through it, right? Only Him. I have nothing else to say but only God. He was the one who put the other persons in place to help me through the process. I'm telling you that even web development and web accessibility testing, I was not the one who went out looking to do it. I'm telling you that it was persons who reached out to me with those opportunities. Most of the opportunities that I have gotten, I didn't apply for it. I didn't reach out to anyone. Persons just came to me, and I'm now in the fields, right? So I'm telling you, it was just only Him who brought me through it. You know, losing your sight, you may feel like you're in a sense of darkness, or you may feel scared. Some persons, they are very scared if they hear the sighted sound, they jump because they're not seeing around them. I just have this peace and this calmness, right? Some of the times I may be walking around the house in darkness or sitting in a room in darkness, and someone comes in and says, Sheneille, why are you sitting in darkness? You don't turn on the light. Oh God, even though I may see a little, I may see a little light and stuff. Some of the time I don't remember, turn on the light. So I just have this peace and this calmness within me, not to worry about anything, because everything is being sorted out, right? I will find a way to go through. Because if you develop anxiousness, right, it's not going to work, right? If you sit and worry about how things are going to work out, it's not going to work. I just relax and I just trust God to work out everything for me. And all I just felt this, I didn't feel overcome like I'm going to sit at home and cry and I'm not going to get any jobs or anything like that. I just sat and I at the point before I learned how to use my computer, I just sat home, as I said, turn on the TV, lie down, watch my favorite movies, and I was just enjoying myself, right? I didn't have any bad feeling or any feeling of worry for some odd reason, because usually persons would worry when things like this happen to them, but I did not have any feeling of worry. I was just living day by day, learning how to do things on my own, learning how to move around the house, do different things around the house, cooking, sweeping, wiping, washing up plates, even though I wasn't seeing. It was just that's one thing about me. I love challenges, and I always love a learning experience. So not only was this a new challenge for me, but it was a new learning experience, learning new things every day and overcoming various challenges every day. So that was just the mindset I had to put towards this. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't worry about anything. Just be excited to find new ways to overcome the next challenge, right? It was just a bit of an excitement for me for the next challenge or the next new thing I would learn. That was just it for me. And that's the mindset that I took towards things. Because you sitting and sulking up your face and saying you're not going to become anything, and that's not going to help you. You're not going to go anywhere with that. If that's the mindset you have, no matter how you try, no matter how persons teach you, you're not going to go anywhere with that, right? So you just have to change your mindset and be determined to achieve, and you will achieve.
Yes, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know how to explain my feelings. That is so a symphony of philosophy. There's so much of concepts put together. I don't know how to express my emotion. I was asking about emotions, however, and now that seems much overwhelming. Let me ask you, like, how does it sound to you as a woman, as a charming young lady? How do women get represented in these fields? What are the extra challenges that girls do feel and experience during this stage of progress, and especially in such a phase of unprecedented and unforeseen challenges, of maybe losing their vision or maybe becoming blind at sight and maybe, casted away from the general society. So how do you address the gender-specific issues being a visually impaired girl or a woman who is about to, dictate certain terms of accessibility into the future?
Well, that is it, in broader society and also in the blind and visually impaired community, there are certain jobs and certain positions that they just feel like women should not be in those jobs or in those positions. But what I realize even more now, even in the broader world, a lot of women are taking over these leadership positions, right? Heads of departments, principals, CEOs. A lot of women are taking over these fields. Even though there may be some discrimination, it's up to you, right? Sorry. It's up to you as a woman to prove yourself and what you are capable of, right? You have to showcase yourself in a way that they see that hiring you is an asset. No matter what, you have to just showcase yourself, is what I'm saying. Proving that you have what it takes to get that position, right? It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, but my expertise, my skills, my qualifications, my experience can get me this position and prove what you can do. You have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to be able to, you have to be willing to come out of your comfort zone sometimes, right? Because even some ladies on certain teams, say for example, there is this team with that is mostly males on it. Like, say for example, it's a team of 5 persons, 4 of them are males, and you are approaching the position to become a part of that team. Some women would say that they don't want to be a part of that team. They can't manage the amount of testosterone, or it's too much males for them. They can't do it. But you need to be able to come out of your comfort zone, right? To take on these positions, so that we can get rid of this whole gender discrimination thing, that women can't do this, women can't do that. Some persons say that women can't do this and women can't do that, men do this better, and it's just up to you to prove what you can do above, no matter what, if you're male or female, to prove what you can do, and to be willing to come out of your comfort zone, to adapt to various environments, and you can do it. Matthew, we're not hearing you if you're speaking.
Yes, so as I was saying, it is high time that our girls, our sisters, and our lasses around the world recognize the chance that you can, and it is you who can. So this is an example. Miss Gayle is here to represent girls like you, millions of girls who just want to place themselves on the web, who just want to see themselves seen, and who just want to thrive like Miss Gayle here. So I wish everyone a very good luck. So one of the concluding note, my question is, what is the precise message, the sort of inspiration, and the sort of stable, staple message that you want to give it to your, or rather our audience?
Well, my message is, first of all, don't worry, right? Don't worry about what your next move will be. Because at one point I did say to myself, how am I not, getting, possibly clients or jobs in this field? And then it came to me, the time you're here sitting and worrying about getting, well, not worrying per se, because I told you I didn't worry much. It's the time you're here sitting and thinking about why you're not getting clients and whatever. Why not use that time to develop yourself? Go learn something new, right? When I was doing web development and I just did raw coding, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, PHP. I said, why not go learn WordPress, right? Take this time where I'm not getting clients and stuff like that and go and learn WordPress, right? So don't sit and worry about how things are not happening for you. Take that as an opportunity to build yourself more, build your portfolio, build your skills. If you want to be a voiceover artist, or say for example you want to be an audio editor like me, right? I sat and I planned out some advertisements and I created them to be able to build my portfolio. Let me use this as an example. When I was doing graphics designing before I lost my sight, some people feel like when you step into certain fields, you just start making money same time. It doesn't always work out like that. When I was doing graphics designing, I was new to it. And you can't be new to something and want to charge persons millions of dollars for things. No, it don't work out like that, right? I had to start out free. I started doing it for free, right? I would do what they call retweet deals on Twitter. So I would say, if you get this amount of retweets on a tweet, I will make a logo or something for you. And not only did that give me a chance to practice more, because when persons come to you with different ideas for different things that you wouldn't even have thought about, and you get to try out new things, and because you're doing it for free, your head is not on the chopping table if you get it wrong, right? So not only was I able to practice more by doing that, but I was able to gain um more followers, more exposure, because all these persons saw this tweet going around saying that I was doing free graphics and they wanted it as well. So I was able to build up my skills, no matter, even though I was doing it for free, but I had a passion for doing it. Up for hours doing graphics for free for retweet deals, until at one point I started charging, when I started getting real good at it. $1, $2, $5, $8, $10, until a point where customers came to me saying like, can you do this for this amount of money, raising it up to $50 and going up. And I started seeing the value for my work, right? So you have to think about it. What am I good at? Am I good at singing? Am I good at teaching persons? Am I good with my hands? Right? Am I good at marketing things? If I have a bubble gum in my hand, a pack of bubble gum in my hand, and I go out into a crowd, am I able to just sell off the whole box of bubble gum to everyone in the crowd? Am I good at that? You just have to sit and think within yourself. What am I good at? Then the next thing you think about, how can I use what I am good at to be able to make a living, right? What's the next step? So possibly you seek a scholarship or so, or if you have the money and you go on to develop more skills in this field, go to a university, go to a certification, go to a short course, right? And to learn how you can make a living from this skill. Then, if you may have barriers or challenges along the way, the next step is to determine what technology can I use to assist me in this field. Like, say, for example, when I was doing programming, building GUI applications, I was testing out making applications come up in full screen. I was getting tired of asking someone in my house to tell me this is in full screen. So when this new add-on came out, the NVIDIA Advanced OCR add-on that allows you to take a screenshot of your screen and it recognizes the text, it allowed me to, based on the text that it recognized, I was able to tell if the application was in full screen or not, right? So the next step is for you to search out the technology that is out there to help you to achieve what you want to achieve, right? The next step after you get to develop the skills, whether it's through self-learning online, because there are many self-learning platforms online that you don't have to pay for. Whether it's through self-learning, going to pay for a course, then you find the technology that you need to help you. The next step is to find that job, that perfect opportunity. So advertise yourself, make different portfolios, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube, right? Make different portfolios advertising yourself and what you do. Go on various websites that offer jobs, launch out, make applications, right? Because if persons don't approach you with opportunities, if you don't launch out and make applications, reach out to persons, how do you expect to get a job? Do you think it's just going to drop in your lap just like that? No, you have to launch out. You have to make yourself known to the world. Just like I made myself known to the world. But I was just doing it voluntarily, helping others to use their applications, and persons started reaching out to me. So you have to make yourself known out there. Even TikTok is a really great tool. If you're good at crafting different stuff, various stuff that you think could even sell on the market, make some TikTok videos, advertising them. So that's just what you have to do. Don't think of yourself of being disabled. Just think of yourself of being a regular person with just an extra step that you need to step on to get up to that new level, right? But don't worry about that extra step. Once you have the tools and the mindset to get you up that extra step, it will not be an issue. So you just have to think about who you are, what you can do, how you can do it, and how you can make a change in the world. So that is my advice. I tell persons all the while, don't let your disability limit you. Do not allow your disability to limit you. Find ways around challenges and barriers to do what you want to do. And trust me, you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is confidence overwhelming. Actually, yes, recognition comes with acceptance, acceptance bring access, and with accessibility in GFA, we have Madam Sheneille T. Gayle conversing to you from our chat with your idol. Right. So that is a sort of journey that we are having, so inspiring, so touching, so deep into the heart, which is almost dominating. Even if you forget the words, you can never forget the message. Even if you forget the message, you can't forget the life of Miss Sheneille. And now we are into the most important part, perhaps. Why I call it important is to clearly state that this opportunity is not provided for Madam Gayle to present herself, but for you guys to see and to understand that I can do it, that you can do it, that everyone can do it if they determine, if you have that sort of a solemn determination. So this is a message. And why I'm saying this, because our lovely, dear, cherishing audience have sent us few questions, out of which we have selected a few important questions for Madam Gayle to ask quickly.
Can I take an excuse if you don't mind? Yeah.
Please, Mr.
There
Gayle.
are some audience also waiting. They can also put their questions. Please take also them to consideration. My humble request for them.
Thank you. So you were listening to the CEO of Global Foundation for Accessibility, Mr. Harun Karim TK. Yes, this is a great opportunity for the live audience and for the selected questions too. So my first question as a start head, by giving a big salute to Miss Sheneille. Hats off to her. So my first question, I'm shooting it directly. What do you think is the role of right innovation in creating a much more just and accessible world? And along with it, what emerging technology will you think will change accessibility soon? The question is from a right honorable member of a GFA from the United States. His name is James. So yes, here's James' question. What is the role of innovation in crafting accessibility, and what emerging technology will change accessibility? Over to you.
Right. So let me tell you, innovation is it has a big role to play in accessibility, because we have to come up with new ways and new technology to be able to achieve what we want to achieve and to do what we want to do. A lot of the stuff that is already here, it's not really helpful to us, right? We want something better. We want some new ideas, right? Some new inventions out there that can help us to do what we want to get done. So innovation plays a big part in making the world accessible to us. Trust me. And there are a lot of technologies out there that I feel that we can implement to make the world much better, much accessible for us. Like, even I was saying to someone the other day that we need to make more technology that talks to us, you know? So possibly a talking stove that when you turn the knob, it tells you when it's on high, when it's on low, when it's on extra low. Because I'm having that issue with my stove right now. You know, I have a gas stove, not an electric stove. And I got someone to put a marker where when it is extra low. But the problem is extra low is right beside where you turn it off. So some of the times I turn off the stove and I don't even know, and I don't want the gas to leak out. So I just leave that alone, right? I don't use extra low. So having technology like that, stove that tells you when it's low, extra low, or high, having technology that could possibly tell you when your food is burning, you know, in the pot, saying you're trying to fry something, when your food is burning, or even better, something like a more high-tech air fryer, right? That it knows, if you tell it exactly the type of food you want to cook, it knows when, how much time to put it on, and just tell it the amount of food you're putting in, the type of food you're putting in, how exactly you want it to cook, and it can calculate all of that for you. And you just sit and go watch a movie and everything is perfectly done for you, right? Things like smart glasses, which I know persons are working on, that could completely replace that cane, because as I told you, I don't really hug up the cane. I don't know. I don't really love it, right? I had to use it at one point in time, but I don't really love it. So that we can walk around just as normal persons. Persons don't have to see you come clicking and clacking with a cane and say, oh, she's blind or she's visually impaired, you know? At one point, I knew that persons always say when they see you coming with a cane, they always stay out of your way. I don't know if they think you're going to beat them with it or something.
Yes.
I don't know. But they see you
Yes.
coming with a cane, they want to stay out of your way. So
Right.
we just have to think about this innovation plays a big part in making the world accessible, and there is a lot of stuff, a lot of technology that we can develop
Yes.
to create a sense of independence.
Right. So, my dear audience, you can open up, and we have many questions, so many exciting questions. We have very little time, so yes, straight ahead. You can shoot it up straight. Come on, guys, this is your time. Yeah, go on.
Do you have any more questions from your side?
Yes, certainly. Miss Helena from Germany asks, what was one of the most crucial time of your endeavor? What made you so, vulnerable? And how did you triumph over such a situation? Could you explain?
One of my most crucial times. Oh, one of my most crucial times. I would say really one of my most crucial times has nothing to do with technology. It was actually getting over the because I was locked up in my house, right? It was getting out of the fear and going out on the road to travel by myself, taking the bus by myself and stuff like that. I had a bit of I was a bit withdrawn from it, right? Even being afraid that someone will, drag me away on the road or something like that. But I was able to overcome it. As I said, developing confidence, developing a sense that I'm not afraid of anything, and just launching out, taking the instructions from my mobility teacher and using them on the road, and just carrying out myself normally, right? Just with anything. Just like how the challenge going into university, I was thinking, how am I gonna carry out myself like the other students? But they were able to accommodate me and in different ways, and I was able to overcome that, right? So the things that I had really, as I told you, I didn't worry much about anything, but it's going out into the world, traveling the world by myself. That was my greatest challenge, and I was able to just calm down and to just take up the challenge, and I was able to overcome it, right? And take the post by myself without
Yes,
any assistance at all.
that is this, guys. And one reputed audience asks from the UK. Her name is Olivia. So Miss Olivia comes with a question. As a symbol of resilience, what practices of your daily life made you so stable? What would you advise as a daily routine or as a practice which would enable them to?
What does she mean by more stable?
Stable means you are constantly working so hard, arranging your time, and you are finding it so easy to arrange tasks. So how do you
Okay.
came to be in such a order?
Well, when I was younger, I used to be very unorganized, and I used to get, some stuff for it. Always unorganized. A lot of times I couldn't find my stuff, right? And I got so upset about it, and I decided that I'm gonna get organized, right? So I developed, because let me tell you, you see, being blind and visually impaired, you cannot be unorganized. In my house, if someone can't find anything, they come and ask me, because I know where everything is. You have to develop a sense of organization. You have to remember where you put what, have a system of where you put things and how you keep things. You have to be organized, right? It's something that you cannot be disorganized. It's one major rule. So everything to be able to keep stable, right? You can't just be working, working, working. You have to find a time, if it's even every morning before you start out your day, a time for yourself. Think about what's the next move, right? What's the next thing I'm going to do? If you like listening to music, listen to some nice, encouraging music to start out the day. That is what pushes me and encourages me. Have a moment of meditation at the start of your day. Think about, who am I really? What is my next move, right? What is my plan for my life? That's just what you have to do, and to meditate. Listen, if you have a short period of time, listen to a small TV series, probably while you're eating breakfast or so. Listen to a motivating interview. Or, as I said before, listen to some music. That is the way to start out your day, and to, have some stability in your life. And
Really,
that will push you to
really.
continue to move forward.
So, yes, that is it. So, as she says, keep it simple, keep it cool, and keep a pleasant mind, keep a smiling face, so that, as you can see on the screen, Madam Gayle is smiling at you, and yeah, you can do the same to the world.
I have a question.
So, yes, please.
Yeah. So, like, other than the accessibility challenges, still, unfortunately, the world is considering the race, color, and such things into consideration while, taking human beings. So, I feel, what do you think? What is your message to those people who consider that? Because still in the visually impaired community, when Sheneille got into GFA, so unfortunately, I was hearing comments that specifically talks about that. So, what do you think actually? Like, what is your message to them, Sheneille?
Oh,
Well,
I love this question. Let me tell you. We are in the blind and visually impaired community, right? we are being discriminated, we are facing discrimination from the world, saying that we're blind, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't see to do this, you can't see to do that, right? And all we want is to be included in the world, for them to stop discriminating against us, right? Why? How do you find yourself as a blind person discriminating against another blind person because of race? If you are discriminating against someone else, but in another but it's still discrimination. You can't be discriminating against someone else and expect for someone else to stop discriminating against you. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to do to others what you want to be done to you. So if we are going to come together in the blind community and try to be more accepted, try to quench the discrimination against us, we can't be discriminating against each other. It just cannot work. As I said, a people who are divided, a people who is divided cannot stand, right? If a table is against itself, it's not going to stand. We cannot be fighting against each other, as I said, crabs in a barrel. As we're trying to lift ourselves up, we're drawing back, we're drawing each other down again. No, we can't do it. We have to give each other a helping hand. I'll give you my shoulder, you step up, you climb over the wall. And then when you get on top of the wall, you pull me up as well. So if we want to be accepted by the wider community and the broader world, we cannot be discriminating against ourselves, because they in the broader world will look at it and say, look at them. They're fighting against their selves. So why should we accept them? They're discriminating against even their own selves, right? Why should we accept them? So it's just that. It's just that.
Exactly. As we are, hey guys, just give your ears to that. As we are just one, garden filled of roses, the colors doesn't matter. What matters is the property. How well you smell sweet and good, how well you produce your results, and how well you count on others, and how well others can count on you. That is the exact message. And that I want to reiterate my statement. That is the exact message given by the Global Foundation for Accessibility here. We are inculcating a global audience. We are inculcating a global, resource powerhouse. We are bringing together think tanks from various backgrounds. And that is exactly what we want to tell you, that from wherever you are, from whatever circumstances you are, doesn't matter to us, doesn't matter to anybody, and shouldn't matter. For that, you have to come up, you have to raise your voice, just like Madam Sheneille Gayle here. This is a tribute to her. This is a tribute to our audience. This is GFA. So I think that it is our time to conclude with just stating this, that we are all together. Bringing up to a conclusion, I welcome you to GFA's website. You can find it on globalaccessibility.org, and you can reach out to our social media platforms. You can find it wherever you are, because we are in search of you, whether that be YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, or anywhere else. We are there. And just look out for us, just look out for yourself. That is me, Matthew Abrahamson, signing off. Thank you everyone for joining. See you.